Welcome to a very special second series of Women on Purpose podcast. And I am so delighted that this series we are sponsored by the fabulous ceramicists.co.uk. Now, going back to late summer this year, I phoned a friend that I hadn't spoken to for quite a while. And we were chatting as I was walking along the beach, because probably as many of you know, I live in sunny Spain most of the time. And we were catching up and he was telling me about this amazing company that he had fell in love with so much that he actually invested. And then he was telling me that they were struggling really with focus, who to serve. They were struggling with sales and marketing, and they'd been looking for someone to help them strategically and mentor the business. And well, I kind of like was down the phone lines waving at him saying, hello, what about me? And he was like, oh my God, yes, what about you? Anyway, not 3 weeks later, I found myself landing in Johannesburg after an overnight flight from Heathrow to go and visit the team and to start some really deep strategic work with them. And I have to say that I completely fell in love, one with South Africa, because I'd never been, but most importantly, the brand that is Sir Jacobs. Now, they specialise in making handcrafted, handmade ceramics, beautiful vessels that you can use around your home for home fragrance and also for personal perfume and fragrance. And then they actually design and make the perfumes that go in all of those vessels. So the kind of concept is you choose your vessel and then you choose your fragrance, which I absolutely love because, you know, we live in such a throwaway world. And, you know, I love beautiful fragrances. I love beautiful, you know, home decor. And I've never found and never seen this concept anywhere where you can have beautiful vessels that suit your decor, suit your home, and that you can choose a fragrance that you love and then refill the bottles. And because they're such fine ceramics, the vessels mean that you can rinse them out just in warm soapy water and then you can change a fragrance. So you never have to stay the same. And then you're not throwing away, you know, let's face it, nasty glass bottles. And also the fragrances in their candles are absolutely stunning. But the candles aren't like many luxury candles out there that are full of paraffin. Really, really bad for us, bad for the environment, leave black soot all over the place, let alone in your lungs. They're made out of soy wax and they burn really, really evenly. They have the smell from the top to the bottom, which, you know, many candles these days don't. You know, they just have a really lot of fragrance in the top, you know, inch if you're lucky. And then once it's burned through that, then you're just left with just a burning candle. And okay, it might be a nice light. So I loved the concept. I absolutely loved the vessels themselves, and the perfumes, well, they are just divine. There's 9 perfumes. Now, so I helped them to figure out where they're going, what they're doing with their strategy, which included launching in the UK. And I also, while I was there, did a live podcast. And that is podcast number 1 in series 2 of the Women on Purpose, and it is out this week, and I am so excited for them to be sponsoring the whole series. And they have given me an amazing discount code for my listeners and viewers. Yeah, that's right, viewers, you can now watch everything on YouTube, my YouTube channel, Women on Purpose. And the code is launch UK 20. So you've got 20% off. It's ideal if you want to treat yourself or treat others, beautiful for gifts. So if you would like to treat yourself or treat some others to some beautiful ceramics that are going to go with almost any interior, okay, there's going to be a collection. There's 4 main collections. There's a collection that you're going to actually love, and the colours together, even if you mix them up, look amazing. I've seen them in stylized shots. I've seen them in people's homes while I was out there in South Africa. They are absolutely divine. So please take a look at sirjacobs.co.uk to have a look at the collection and treat yourself or treat someone else, someone you love and care for, with one of or a collection of the beautiful products and beautiful fragrances. So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much to sirjacobs.co.uk for sponsoring Series 2 of The Women on Purpose. Let's get on with the series.
I'm so excited to be here today. Very special edition of a podcast with the fabulous Stefan and Neil Jacobs. So they're the founders of the South African ceramics and fragrance brand Sir Jacobs. So welcome both of you.
Thank you. Thanks, Danny.
So just let's dive straight in. Tell me about the beginning. How and when did it all begin? How did you meet each other? Just tell us it all from the beginning.
Okay, so I'll have a go at it. So the business started in about 2019 or so, where I'm a lawyer by profession, and I wanted to do something creative. I've always been a very creative individual, and law doesn't exactly allow for lots of creativity. So I thought to myself, like, what can we do to create something beautiful? And we initially started out as sort of a clothing brand, but it didn't really go anywhere. We just toyed around with a few ideas. We then went to leather bags. We thought that maybe let's try and test that out. That didn't go anywhere either. And then I'm not entirely sure how we got to it, but we decided to experiment with fragrance. That was, our attempt there was much simpler than it is now, because we had glass bottles and we bought the perfumes and we didn't really have much input into exactly what they smell like. It was a very basic setup, but it started around 2020 in that way. And from there, it really grew into something completely different to what it is now. And where we met, we knew each other for a while before we actually got into a relationship. So Stefan and I are we are married, and we met at a warrior race. This was around, what was it, 26?
Right.
What was it, 2014?
2015 November.
It was 2015 November, where we met. He was in a relationship at that stage. I wasn't. But we sort of kept an eye on each other over the years. And when both of us were single, kind of we rekindled, and then it went from there.
Oh, fantastic. So do you remember the first time you laid eyes on Neil?
Yes, I did. We were all full of mud, and if you like, it's like warrior races when you run through mud and obstacles and stuff like that. And so if you like someone, once they crawled out of a mud pit, you've won.
Everything's up from there.
Everything's up from there. Exactly. So yeah.
So when do you think that or where do you think the ideas originally came from the ceramics point of view then?
We wanted to do something different with the vessels, not just use glass. And we started experimenting with resin, which wasn't environmentally friendly at all. And then I was just scouring YouTube for ideas on how to make vessels. And I came across a ceramist in the States called Van Tiki. And he makes these wonderful tiki mugs, but just brilliant. And everything I know now, I learned from him. And I literally just bought a kiln on Facebook Marketplace, popped it in the back of my car, bought a bunch of clay from Cape Town, made my first mold, which was like yay big when it was supposed to be this big,
Right.
just to make a tiny bottle like that. And it worked. Like, it came out the oven, perfectly vitrified. And that's how we started the ceramics journey. Yeah,
I love that. Like, so you, like, it sounds like it happened like really quickly. You just said, "All right, I love this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and find a kiln, and I'm just going to go and buy it." I love that. And so you guys started in the garage.
Yes,
We did, yes. Eventually, you know, our house has been a factory for the past 5 years. So that luckily recently changed because we moved into a facility, a really nice facility out in River Sands. But up to this point, since we started, as I said, about 2019, we've been in our garage, and it's been extremely messy. Eventually, at one stage, just before we moved out, the crates were shoulder height. Almost every single room in the house was used for business purposes. The garage was used for it. Our cars haven't been in the garage for more than 5 years. The back of our yard had a ton of porcelain.
And white footsteps
everywhere, all over the place. It was always dirty. And at one point, we had like 6 people on a daily basis in our house. So no, it was really tough. It was really tough running the business from home.
Yeah.
But it's such a relief now to have our own space, like a real dedicated workspace, and also to move away from to not be in your house all day, every day, really makes a very big difference. Because in the morning you can get up, you can do your thing, and you can get to the office, and that's work time. And then when you leave the office and you come home to a clean house, that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
It was such a relief, and it just makes such a big mental difference.
Yeah.
To not operating from home. But yes, it was in our garage, but not anymore.
And so I want to just explore some of that, because there's a couple of things. Like, some of the best businesses in the world started on the kitchen table and in the garage, which is lovely, and it's going to resonate with so many people who, want to start a business, but they're a little bit afraid and to take those next steps. But just go back a little bit. Like, what was it like, and kind of what was it that finally gave you that, I don't know, creative spark to say you're going to leave the familiar behind? So, Stefan, you were working in a company, you were doing branding and sort of marketing, and Neil, you were a lawyer. Like, what was it like, and what gave you that sort of instinct to say, I need to change this? This is not what I want in my life anymore.
That's a hard one to answer. Not going to lie, it was difficult, because for the last 15 years, I was doing design. And also, I built up a phenomenal career. I never studied. I studied post-career. But I was on the streets at 18, had to work my way up. And to give that up was extremely, extremely difficult. But then the realization was just, this opportunity comes once in a lifetime. And so, not to everyone. It comes once in a lifetime to 1 in a million. So you'd be very stupid to not take it. So that was kind of the logic behind it, is just take the leap and just do it, because what's there to lose?
Yeah, and to add to that, eventually you run out of time. There's only so many hours in a day, and the business really needed our full-time attention. There's just too much to do. And eventually, being a full-time lawyer and trying to be a full-time business owner and perfumer it's an impossibility. Eventually you completely burn out, and it was a leap of faith. We had to choose one or the other. We were at a point where time was simply not available anymore, and we knew that the business, Sir Jacobs, needed our full-time attention for it to actually get anywhere. You know, sometimes some lucky business owners can actually grow a business while having something else going on in the background. But for us, it simply just wasn't an option. We had to be involved full-time because, you know, when our good friend and business partner Ben came on board, you know, we were very, very lucky to have the opportunity to choose between either full-time employment or Sir Jacobs, and we of course chose Sir Jacobs so that we can grow.
Yeah, and I think there always comes that pivotal point in, you say about time, and I think it's a Russian proverb that says, "Chase two rabbits, catch none." But also, and you're both very young, but also we run out of time in our lives. You know, there's only a certain amount of time that we've got on this earth, and we never know when that, not to sound morbid, but when that day is that we're not going to wake up. So why not think about what it is that you're passionate about, that you really want to do, and follow those dreams and ambitions. And so I'm really pleased, having seen everything that you do, that you chose Sir Jacobs. So where did the name Sir Jacobs come from?
So, usually when people ask that question, they expect this very interesting sort of answer. And I sometimes feel I have to give a really interesting out of their answer. But it's actually very simple. So we were sitting around the table with a bunch of friends of ours, and we said, okay, so it's official. We've got a business now. At that stage, it was clothes. So we needed a name to print on the clothes that we were putting out there. And we said, do any one of you have any suggestions? I can't even remember what made a shortlist, what other names made a shortlist.
It came from, he likes the prefix in names like Dr. Pepper. Colonel Sanders in KFC, so that prefix.
Because it gives authority to an extent. Yeah. And we wanted to be the authority on ceramics and fragrance or clothing or nice leather bags. We knew we wanted to be an authority in something. So yes, I guess you're right. I had actually forgotten about that. So we said there needs to be some prefix of authority. And a friend of ours just said, well, what about Sir Jacobs? Because none of us are doctors. None of us we don't hold any other title. So he just said, well, both of you are sirs. So why not just Sir Jacobs? Yeah. And that's actually where it came from. So it's stuck.
I love it though, because I sometimes I don't think a story or something like that does have to be specifically unique, but it is actually really unique to you guys, and it means something. But it's also nice to hear what that name sort of means around the brand and for you, and that authority piece. So when you describe the moment where you kind of thinking, we moved from clothes to bags to actually it's perfume and fragrance and ceramics.
So again, I'll just have a shot at that, and then you can go. So again, there isn't this incredible sort of light bulb moment. Clothes, we felt there are too many clothes manufacturers in South Africa, or too many small sort of brands. And that we lost interest in that fairly quickly. It was kind of a natural thing. We lost interest in it. And then came the leather bag thing. And we also lost interest in that fairly quickly as well. But for some reason, I think Stefan was he came across the perfume concept, because perfumery in South Africa is mainly focused on your dupe type of brands or your smell-alike brands, because it's an affordable product. And there's actually a lot of brands in South Africa that provide that type of product. So I think there was a lot available on the internet with regards to the availability of perfume oils and starting a perfume brand in South Africa. So I think my recollection is that's where we pivoted to perfume. And at that stage, it had nothing to do with ceramic bottles. It was simply a perfume in a glass bottle. I don't know if you can add to that.
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to create a luxury brand. So we wanted to create something, whether it was the leather bags was also quite a cool concept of learning how the leather stitching works and the cutting and the patterning and all of that. That was like really interesting, just learning to create something. But this, and then the one conversation was actually most luxury brands, fashion brands, have a fragrance. And so that I was actually like, why don't we try our hand at fragrances? And the moment we realized fragrances are it is when that first bottle came out the kiln. So we were still experimenting with everything we were, but when that first bottle was crimped with its cap and it had its fragrance and it looked phenomenal, we were like, this is what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Because also we knew, as a matter of fact, that perfume bottles were not made out of porcelain. Maybe it was a one-off piece by some brands and so on, but we know that generally a perfume bottle is a glass bottle, and we thought, you know what, let's combine ceramics and perfumery and make it one. So that's kind of really our moment.
Yeah. I mean, I can absolutely attest. Can't see it right now, but the bottles, the vessels are so beautiful, and also having sort of been in the background with you and seen you, Neil, like the nose of the business, you know, developing the fragrances, they are beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
So kind of you've done your 10,000 hours, like you've done your 10,000 hours in developing the perfumery, you've done your 10,000 hours in kind of mastering the ceramics. Like, what keeps you going to, like, you know, get out of bed in the morning and really have that passion about what it is that you're doing?
Oh, I'd say I still feel like I know nothing, right? So I think it's like pursuit of knowledge and increasing your craft, and the more you know nothing, right? So that's the thing. It's like, it's actually like I still think I'm such an amateur, you know, and I'll probably feel that for the rest of my life, which is great, because that's what you get up to. It's just a little bit better, another good glaze up the kiln, and another good shape, another good production run. That chase for creation and the chase for knowledge. I think, that's
To me, it is, you know, to be able to create something new. Again, as I said in the beginning, for me it's always been about being able to create something that's beautiful and to be creative. And with my job currently, I mean, it couldn't be better. I get up in the morning, I get to the office, and I start smelling like smelly strips and aroma chemicals and that, and seeing what way I can put them together so that they can make a beautiful fragrance. And then also I've got social media responsibilities, and there's also a really big creative element there. So to me, it is being creative and to continuously create new things that people admire and find beautiful. And that just takes up some space in this world.
Yeah. And as a couple, how you know, like I know what I'd be like if I had to work with my husband. it would probably be fraught sometimes. It would probably be amazing sometimes. But so, as a couple, like, how do you manage that creative process between the two of you? Like, what each of you are working on? How do you sort of manage that time, you know, being in the business and then working on the business and home and the office and the manufacturing side?
So to be very honest, it has been extremely challenging. So it definitely, you know, we had to start ramping up production in it was August of last year, August of 2024. And because that's when Ben came on board, and that's when we decided I need to get involved in the business on a full-time basis. Stefan actually, he also spent a lot of time in the business, and a couple of months later, he resigned his full-time job. But yes, we were ramping up production. We had to come up with new products. We knew that we were going to move out of the house and into our facility. So much was going on, and that really took a toll on our marriage. It was really difficult to separate our private lives from our professional lives or our business. All of it was just mingled. And, you know, we were doing everything together 24/7. So it really was very challenging. But we had a conversation which really changed things for us quite significantly. And it was a very simple conversation, but it had a very big impact. And that was, And that was, what are you responsible for, and what am I responsible for? Because as a small business, both of us were involved in every single aspect. Both of us had to make a decision we had to make a decision together on every aspect of the business, and that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
You know, because we've got different ways of doing things. I like this, he likes that. So we delineated responsibility. He was responsible for the ceramic side of things. I was responsible for the perfumery side of things. We had a joint input on the social media side of things. He had to make decisions on all of our design elements. So when we delineated responsibility, it really made a very big difference in how we got along, because it was very rocky. It was extremely tough.
And like kind of not getting away from it.
Yes.
We still till today, like when we get home, we're like, can we not talk shop?
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard. So we sit there and like,
but yet we do.
and then,
what do we talk about?
What do we talk about 5 minutes later? It's like we talk business. But we are also very lucky to have an amazing psychologist. We share a psychologist, and for people that are not in therapy, how can you not? I think it is also a life and marriage saver to have someone that understands us both and that doesn't take sides, and that's an objective calling you out when you're full of shit. So that helps.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have those sounding boards, and also, you know, just feeling really comfortable asking for help when you need help, and also being able to receive that sort of support and guidance, and just feel like that you've got someone other than the two of you to talk to, especially when you're like so full on.
Especially a professional.
Yeah.
Not just a mom or a dad or a friend, but a trained clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference.
So I really, let's go there for a minute. So that, like, I always find, like, as you said, that there are only a certain percentage of people who actually even will think about going down this road and like leaving the familiar behind, starting something up, having, you know, like a great element of risk, because it could all go wrong or it could all go amazingly well. And I'm sure you probably reached the point where you're unemployable now, so like, no, you could never go back. But one thing that I've always found is that your family and some of your friends who, let's say, are more normal, don't get you. And was that difficult, or did you have people around you who are also in business so that they understood what you were doing?
It was a mix of both. So I was very hesitant to tell my family, because I think, especially my father, my parents, because they were responsible for putting me through university, paying for my university fees and so on. And so it was difficult for me to tell my father, especially, that, listen, I'm not practicing as a lawyer anymore. I'm now becoming a full-time self-taught perfumer. And but he actually was perfectly fine with it. You know, he said, well, you know, if you've got an opportunity, then go for it. So, I mean, they definitely have a more traditional view of how your life should go.
Yeah.
And this definitely deviates from what they believe the familiar path is.
Yeah.
But then we had friends who were extremely supportive, who also are entrepreneurs, have their own business. And a good friend of mine said that you sink or you swim. You have to simply just go for it.
Yeah.
You know what? And if it doesn't work out, it's not like I will not be able to find employment again. Not that I want to think about that. It won't happen. But I realize that what is the worst that can happen? What can possibly happen that is so terrible that I'm not going to take this leap? And the answer is nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so I just went for it. But yes, we had supportive family and friends.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know about you.
My mom's the biggest fan ever. Yeah, my mom is a rock. So having, I guess having family and friends support you, and I guess we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Just go for it. Just jump in. And I mean, we've been live for 7 months trading now, and it feels like a lifetime has gone by. And now also, as you said, what else do I want to do with my life other than this? This is it. Yeah.
And I think that's like, you know, when you found your purpose.
100%.
I'm 30 years older than you. And, you know, like, so I've worked with entrepreneurs most of my life, and I always wanted to do it, but I always felt like I was too young, I wasn't qualified enough, and it would never work, and all of those things, until I fell out of a massive corporate job, and then thought, I was in my mid-40s, and I thought, I'm going to do it this time. And I just so wished I'd done it at your age, you know, because I think, like we say, you know, you kind of know that you're passionate about things, you know what you really like, and we go down these sort of traditional routes. So, you know, I'm really pleased for you that you've managed to find this at your age.
I want to echo that. For him especially, he was complaining about law, like he wasn't really ever satisfied. Like, I mean, he won most of the cases. He was brilliant at what he did, but it just didn't hit home. And when he found perfumery, like his attitude, his life, his outlook on everything just completely changed. And he's a creative person, as you said. So I said to him the other day, actually, aren't you happy you found like your calling, if I can put it that way? But like what makes your soul happy.
Yeah.
Few people in this world get to do that, right? So even just that alone is worth everything.
Yeah. And I do think as humans, we're probably ultimately driven to try and find that. But, you know, there's all that risk and everything out, you know, in our heads telling us not to do things. But I think ultimately we only ever regret what we didn't do. So, you know, I think that's amazing. So tell me a bit about your kind of creative approach. How do you create the ceramics? Where do you get your ideas from? What inspires you for the fragrances and the smells?
Okay.
Oh, that's a hard one. So I guess I suffer, like most creators, from imposter syndrome, because there's that saying, everything that should be invented. But not, since the 60s, nothing has been original, or it's all been invented.
Originality died in the 60s.
There we go. Originality died in the 60s.
Along with music.
So that's the thing. It's always feeling like it was a challenge getting like a look and a brand identity, and having our iconic pulse shape now, like the window shape type of thing. Getting to that was difficult. And I guess as all artists or craftsmen or creatives, it's just iterating and iterating and iterating till something sticks, right? Because I'm not classically trained as a fine artist or ceramist. So to find your voice, just iteration.
Yeah. But you're using those processes. So, you know, you're using, you know, fine ceramics approaches and, you know, inspired by the likes of Wedgwood. The way you do your glazes is inspired by that sort of, like, I suppose, I won't say it's ancient art, but probably a lot of it is ancient.
Yeah, you're right in that sense. When we started with the ceramics, we wanted to find the most luxurious, best echelon of ceramics. Right? If we were going to do something, we were going to do it to the best of our abilities. And so came across Wedgwood. They stain their porcelain. Only porcelain can be stained. But porcelain is the hardest, most expensive material in ceramics to work with. So we bought some clay, mixed it, and it actually worked. So the inspiration for the body is from Wedgwood. And then the textures and the design. So we work with interior designers to come up with the colors and the textures. It's a very Japan-y, Scandinavian, Danish, Japanese-y style. And that's what inspires us.
Yeah, and they are beautiful, and the colours are beautiful, and also they're able to go with everything. With you know, with those sort of styles and colour ranges, they kind of go with anything, and you know, there's a space in everyone's home where they would go.
Yeah,
and the nature, you could see across your design how you've brought out like the bark or wood texture, or being able to see water on the surface.
The sand range is actually inspired by of where I come from, Namibia, which is desert. So but getting those colors right was, I think we've made just over 200 color tile iterations.
Wow!
To get those colors right. So
the pain of the artist and the creator. And how about from the nose.
So perfume inspiration. So there were two events insofar as perfume inspiration is concerned. The first one was before I created our fragrances. How it works mostly in the perfumery industry is you give a brief to a perfumer or a big perfume house to create a perfume for you. And our first range of perfumes were created in that way. So I had to think about a certain person or a certain event or a certain place that will inspire the smell of the fragrance. So I would write a brief, provide a mood board, or come up with a mood board and then provide it to the perfumer to actually create the perfume. We would then get the perfume samples and we would make the final decision on that. So that was initially kind of what was to my disposal, but that has changed quite significantly since I started creating the perfumes, our perfumes myself from scratch, from start to finish. So, and those perfumes were inspired by moments, by places, by feelings. So we currently, we're going to be launching a perfume soon called Sneeuwberg.
I can attest, it's beautiful.
So yes, Sneeuwberg means snowy mountain in English. It's Sneeuwberg is Afrikaans. And that was inspired by a holiday we had in the Kamdaboo Private Nature Reserve. So it's a nature reserve in the Eastern Cape, and it is absolutely beautiful. And the Sneeuwberg runs through that nature reserve and a part of South Africa. And the smells and the scenery and the coldness of the air and the freshness of the air and the wild rosemary and the animals. So there were a whole lot of things that inspired the smell of this fragrance, because I would take each one of those elements and think, how can I create an abstract smell for them? And then you put those things together, different accords and notes, and then you come up with the fragrance. So, and then we've got another fragrance that we'll be launching soon as well called Porcelana. Now, Porcelana is Portuguese for porcelain. And that fragrance is inspired by, firstly, the struggle and the adversity in getting to know the product, porcelain, and how to work with it. But then also, actually, the smell of porcelain, the coldness of it, the minerality of it. It's got sort of a woody, sort of mossy smell to it. So I get inspiration from all over the place.
And is it your mum that's Portuguese?
Yes, so my mum is Portuguese.
Yeah, the Portuguese name.
I'm also a Portuguese citizen. And what we wanted to do was, we want to take our heritage and apply it and incorporate it into Sir Jacobs. I am Afrikaans. I was brought up as an Afrikaans person. So Sneeuwberg is an Afrikaans word. I know it is difficult to pronounce, but there are so many perfumes I can't
Especially
pronounce
for us, you can't even speak English properly.
Yes, so there's so many perfume names I can't pronounce anyway.
Exactly.
So I was just like, why not call it Sneeuwberg? People, they'll eventually get comfortable, or you can just call it Snowy Mountain. That's also okay. And the same with Porcelana. Porcelana is part of my heritage because I am Portuguese.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to call it porcelain, it will be Porcelana.
Absolutely. And again, it smells beautiful.
Thank
It
you.
smells beautiful.
That was your favorite, right?
That was actually my favorite. Yeah, it's not out yet.
It's coming soon. In fact, our first samples are being delivered tomorrow, so I'll definitely be.
I'll be able to go back to the UK with some smell. I'm going to buy the whole lot anyway. It's gorgeous. So, tell me about that process then. Like, what's the creative process like? How do you end up with a vessel? How do you end up with a perfume?
Pinterest, right? Pinterest, getting as many references as possible from all over. But Pinterest is just exceptionally good at feeding you what you're looking for, and it's still quite AI free. So there's not so much of AI on it. So it's actually great to find original stuff, original artists, and then following through to their Instagrams and understanding what they're doing, and then creating a mood board, designing and printing, 3D printing a lot of plastic. Well, it's plant-based plastic, but a lot of plant-based prototypes. Filling them with water, liquid, seeing the shapes right. How does it feel in the hand? And I guess using a modern technology like 3D printing, quick, iterative, and then if it works, great, we go on to the mold making step. And if it doesn't, we just print another one. And I guess it's so great living in the 21st century to be able to print something and then using an ancient 4,000-year-old art or process to take it from plastic printed to handmade ceramics. So that's the flow.
And talk about a bit more about the handmade. So you've got a team of specialist ceramicists who work with you as well, and they're literally finishing off each vessel by hand.
Yes. So it goes. The prototype's printed. We decide on the prototype. We print the mold. The mold is then made through silicone mold making. So we make a master mold of the mold or mother mold. Then we make a plaster mold from that mother mold. And then the porcelain is poured into the plaster, sucks out some of the water, and a shell stays behind. That shell is then dried for 24 hours. It is then fettled by our ceramist, sometimes me, sometimes even Neil. And when we were in the garage, we would fettle hundreds of bottles ourselves. So that's also the thing with our ceramists is everything they do, we can do. Is you have to lead by example, and you should be able to do everything yourself, right?
I agree.
To understand the process. So I would make every bottle myself first, and when I'm happy, I would show them how to make it and get them through the process. Nowadays, I'm involved a lot mostly in the casting, not so much the fettling, but the casting is still very tricky.
And what is fettling?
So when the bottle comes out the mold, it's messy. It has flarings, what they call it, these seam lines. And so fettling is taking a scalpel and going over every inch of that bottle, and then taking a sponge and sponging out every inch of that bottle, which is an art. And we have a master ceramist called Cindy from Zimbabwe, and she's brilliant. And then it has to dry for another 24 hours, and then it's fired. And what makes our firing process really unique is usually something is called biscuit. So it's fired to 1,000 degrees, and then it's usually glazed and fired again a second time. Our vessels are fired from creation to the final process to save electricity and save energy.
What I love is what you said about kind of the master and the apprentices, and your apprentices are actually masters as well. But like it's making sure that you can do that. You do that job, you guide the team, and then they're actually finishing it. But the actual thing I was going to ask was, have you still got that original kiln that you got from eBay?
Yes. Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace.
She's a round, fat little one, and I always say it's not over till the fat lady sings, and she's the fat lady. So when that kiln opens, you know whether you've made it or not. It's not over till it comes out of that oven, and it's set. There's no reclaiming. When it comes out of that kiln and firing, it's over. And we still have that very first thing, and we'll have forever. We'll
and you always even named her.
So I guess I gave her a male name. So that kiln's name is Atlas, which is the god of endurance and the foundation of everything. And that kiln is the foundation of our business. So that's why the name
That's
Atlas
amazing. I love it. There's stories like woven all the way through what you do, which is lovely, because I think it means something to you. It's something that you can share with your team, and that always goes through like a red thread in the business. I think it's really great.
He really just went for the porcelain thing because he had a little car, and that kiln literally fit into that car, and it filled the car up completely.
I love that story. I think you could just imagine it like, right, I'm buying a kiln.
Buying a kiln. I didn't even know what a kiln was. And off he went and bought the kiln. He got home, or I got home, and there was a kiln in the garage. And this thing apparently goes up to 1,200 degrees Celsius, or even higher. And I'm like, oh my days. So no, he really just went for it.
And the lawyer that he is, like being so risk averse, it's going to set the garage on fire.
The neighbours are going to sue us.
Exactly. Electricity is going to pop everything because it draws a lot of electricity.
I made sure that we had a fire extinguisher.
You got a fire
extinguisher. and when the kiln would fire, we would have the fire extinguisher outside of the garage and the camera on it, and I installed a fire alarm. I just had to make sure that it's safe. And then at that stage, we were doing everything in the garage. So all of the perfume stuff was in the garage, right? Flammable alcohol right next to the kiln that goes up to 1,200 degrees Celsius. So we were just winging it. We were just trying to make this thing work.
Oh, and so what about then the process for, it's not quite as mad for the perfumer, but what's the process you go through to like actually end up with a bottle of perfume?
Yeah, so again, I find inspiration from moments and places. And when I started with my perfumery journey, you have to get to know your aroma chemicals and your essential oils. You have to know what they smell like, what their properties are, how long they last, whether they're fleeting, whether they stay for hours. So I went through that process in getting to know the aroma chemicals first, because there are literally thousands of aroma chemicals available to make fragrances. So it started there. And after getting to know my aroma chemicals, I was able to identify which aroma chemicals represents a certain moment or feeling. So, for example, if you have something that smells of wild rosemary, which is part of the snowback thing, so there's a rosemary note in there, how can I recreate a wild rosemary note in perfumery? Because people think that if you've got wild rosemary in nature, surely you'll have aroma chemicals or essential oils that smell of wild rosemary. So many times that's not the case at all. You have to use your palette of aroma chemicals to recreate that smell. So, and for example, when we went on a beautiful game drive on the Sneeberg, the air was very cold and crisp and ozonic. So there's certain aroma chemicals you can use to recreate that moment. So that's kind of the process. I identify what I want to create in perfumery, what aroma chemicals I then need to use, and then from there, it is iteration upon iteration upon iteration. I had so many versions of Sneeberg, and eventually I settled on, I think, my second version of it, but I had like 30 or 40 versions of it. So it's literally just mix a little bit of this, mix a little bit of that. Does it work? No, it doesn't. On to the next iteration of it. Mix a little bit of this, bit of that. Does it work? No, it doesn't. Move on to the next one.
Yeah. And I remember when I was watching, you took me through the perfumer's organ, which is like all of the aroma chemicals and oils and everything, and you're kind of mixing and I get the analogy with the organ now, it's like you're mixing the notes.
Exactly.
You know, you're creating something. And you gave me loads to smell, but like the rosemary aroma chemical you gave me, you smell it, it's like, what? Jesus, that's actually not that
not
nice
terrible
on its own. But then when you smell the finished article, like you would never know that was kind of in there.
Exactly. So you can use it at trace amounts, at very small amounts, to still give the overall impression of rosemary or wild rosemary, but you have to make it gentler and wearable. So that's where a very big challenge for perfumers come in, is actually to take a concept and to make it wearable. Because as you said, rosemary doesn't smell nice on the body. And it's nice for aromatherapy and as maybe sort of a candle or room spray, but not to wear on the body.
He is quite modest though. Like, I mean, I like, he is,
you both are.
No, but he probably has like 400 plus aroma chemicals that you have to get. And as he mentioned the other day, there are more astronauts than perfumers.
Oh, wow.
So it is really hard. I think what I do is very easy compared to that. And also, like, it is also a luck thing, right? Because you have to be born with a very good nose. You don't choose a nose, right? To be able to smell is actually a genetic gift that lottery just gives you life, right? And so just for him to be able to just get it, and the word is anosmic. So I can't smell half of the stuff.
Well, we were trying somewhere we go, I can smell that, and I was going, I can smell it. You say, no, I can't smell it,
and he can smell it all. So I guess,
but then it's about training. So a lot of the stuff I also wasn't able to smell in the beginning.
Yeah, but I think it is. I think for anything, isn't it? It's about those. I think Malcolm Gladwell stole it off of someone else. I can't remember his name, but it was like your 10,000 hours. Like no one's great at anything until you've done 10,000 hours of it. So okay, you might have some natural abilities, but unless you hone them and you train them and you keep doing it, and the same for your work with the ceramics and the porcelain, unless you keep putting those hours in, then actually you're not going to get better. And I think the lovely thing about being humans is we want to get better. And it's that master's journey, is we want to master something if we're passionate about it, but actually we never really get there, and it's enjoying that journey. I think that's really important, isn't it? And because if you don't love it, you're not going to carry on.
There's no destination.
Yeah. Oh, right. So you mentioned the perfumes, and then you've mentioned like the candles and the room spray. So like, how did they? What come first? How did that sort of, I suppose, that signature range that you've now got in each of your perfumes? How did they come about? How did you decide? Well, what's the next thing that we start to develop?
So it initially started as just body perfumes, odor perfumes. Sorry. And a good friend of ours has an interior design business, and we thought that if we can have products that he can use in his business, then why not create those products? Because he bought our perfumes, and his clients also bought our perfumes, but we thought that maybe let's do some home fragrance stuff, let's do a dispenser or a diffuser. Let's create that so that we can expand on our product range. Because we knew that, perfumes only, you can make a business out of it most definitely. But if you've got a wider product offering, then I think for obvious reasons that would be a good thing. So then that's where we created the dispenser range that you use washes and lotions in. And then the diffusers, which is not just normal weed diffusers. And then also candles. So we ventured into the homeware side of things to just expand our product range and to provide another offering to one of our friends.
It's really interesting because you just said they're just normal diffusers and reeds. They're not, are they?
Yes, no, they're not.
So they're beautifully made, and then there's something different about the reeds that you use, even.
Yeah, so it's a thicker reed, so that the reaction surface is a little bit bigger, which means that there's better perfume diffusion.
Yeah.
So I think also for us, it's not going to stop here. So the next thing is little soap bar, little handmade soaps with this ceramic soap holder, and then a car diffuser. And so the list goes on, because some people don't like burning candles because it's something that's burning. Some people love burning candles.
Yeah.
Some people don't like diffusers. They prefer the candle and vice versa. Some people prefer room spray and linen spray. So I guess it's catering to everyone. And our product allows for it. You can put a fragrance in almost any homemade thing, so why not?
But I also think it caters to someone probably really discerning, really wants to have something luxury in their house that's not like huge amounts of money. So it's kind of affordable luxury, but it's also discerning. It's also very tasteful. The smells are really lovely. Like, they're not claggy and overpowering. That the product is like, the candles are soy wax, so that it's not paraffin, like chucking out black smoke in your house. And I think it sort of almost aligns to creating a bit of a ritual. Maybe lighting that candle, even if it's just at the weekend or on a Sunday when you're having a bit of a relaxed time away from your work and a busy time, and just knowing that when someone walks into your home, and many of your clients that I've spoken to say how much other people walking into their homes say, "Oh my God, what's that smell?" And then they want to buy it, and they fall in love with those products and the smells and all of that.
It's especially for someone that likes to host, right? Yeah. Especially the candles. So when you walk into a room hosting friends for dinner and the candles burning and everything smells like citrus, that just creating that vibe, atmosphere for people who host. And then you have to wash your hands before you eat, right? So so having that ritual, that's luxurious all the way.
Yeah. And also it's a little bit ego driven, because I would love it. If someone come into my house and said, "Oh my God, I love those candles," and then they say, "I love the smell," you kind of feel, "Oh yeah, okay, I am quite tasteful. I am sort of leading the thinking around here as well." I think there is a little bit of ego for some of us.
And that's definitely. So what we also wanted to create with our products was, we want a product to have utility. So you need to be able to use it for a purpose, like a wash and a lotion and a candle and whatever. But we also want it to be beautiful. The thing is, you can have that object in your space And it can also enhance the space as well. And that's exactly why the design of the products were interior design focused. Because if you put a dispenser in your bathroom that's actually beautiful, then it enhances the general look of the room. But it also looks beautiful. It's a nice color. It's not just an ordinary glass or plastic bottle. So that was very important when we designed the products, is that it needs to do more than just its job. It needs to be a beautiful object as well.
And to add to the story, so this is where through that interior designer you met Ben.
Yes, exactly. Yes, because I don't know. Shall I get into it? So this friend of ours, he decorated Ben's house, and as I said, this friend of ours, his name is Blake. He bought our very first range of home fragrance products, and he then put it in all of his installations, and amongst others in Ben's house. And then when Ben got to his house, when he saw it for the first time, I mean, there were many beautiful things around him, but what really caught his attention was, I think it was the reed diffuser, right? It was the reed diffuser. And he picked it up and he felt it and he was like, what on earth is this and where does this come from? He thought it was some very big international brand or some really sort of rare product. And Blake then told him about us, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
But that, out of everything that was created in his home, the little reed diffuser really caught his attention.
Yeah. And I remember, so Ben's a friend of mine as well, back in the UK, and I remember him telling me about it, and he said he picked it up, and like, we're both very tactile, so like, and you can see from the pictures of your designs just how tactile and how lovely they are. And he said I picked it up, and he said almost like a vision happened. That he said I've got to know where this comes from. I've got to be part of it, which is like really powerful, isn't it? That to get that from product.
Yes.
So amazing. So it's very artisan, and that's a word, and craftsmanship that sort of comes up when I've been speaking to some of your clients as well. So, what does that mean to you, and what does that mean for your brand?
So I'd say, one, not to be mass-produced, to still be handmade. Like the artisan Victorian era, when people lived above their shops.
Yeah.
The shop was down, the shoemaker was downstairs, the family lived like to be... as Neil said before, to be specialists and what was the word? To be the authority in ceramics and fragrances, but also one big thing with the whole artisan thing is we don't want to throw it away, right? Because something so special should be kept forever. So all our products are sustainable in the sense that they're infinitely refillable. If you don't drop them and you take care of them, they will, like the Pompeii ceramics from 3,000 years ago, will outlive many generations. So the goal is to have a good impact on the planet, and for businesses that starts with design, right? Like to have that intentional, refillable, sustainable model is very, very important for us. As the refill has 100th the plastic of what a big plastic bottle that you use once and throw away. And for us, artisan is not just the making of it, but the sustainability of it.
Yeah. 100%. And like even some of, I suppose, high-end brands and perfumes come in just very plain glass bottles that we just chuck away. And I loved that, like kind of choose your vessel, choose your fragrance. And one of the things that I hadn't got my head around when I first sort of spoke to you was this, actually, how can you kind of refill a bottle of perfume? Because I was thinking, surely the vessel will smell of the perfume that it had in it before. But, the way you've designed it, the way it's made and what it's made from means that you can just simply rinse it out and you could use a different fragrance in it. And I think that's just so amazing. And like, you almost think, why haven't other people done it?
Because it's hard.
Because it's hard, yeah.
Because it's very hard.
Yeah.
And I guess scaling for global distribution is difficult. And like brands that invite you to come and buy their products. I guess that's the goal, is to not be for everyone.
Yeah.
To be for that discerning person
100%,
that likes luxury, that appreciates sustainability, just to be for a very specific person.
Yeah.
It's also fine. We don't want to be for everyone.
No,
that's all right.
And nobody's for everyone. I really don't believe any business is for everyone. And you know, you've got your discerning consumer. If you want to give a lovely gift that's really different, that means something, it's going to last, and you know, as a female who buys those sort of gifts, I love the fact that they're so different, they're so beautiful, and you know that they're going to fit kind of anywhere in people's homes. Fantastic. If someone sort of picks up one of your pieces for the first time, what do you want them to feel?
That's a good question. So I think firstly that this is something very unique. I have never seen anything like this before. Where is this from? How is it made? From what is it made? So just the realization and the appreciation that this is something that you don't get everywhere. And that's actually the response that we do get. There's lots of curiosity about what exactly is this and where does it come from. So just the realization that it's unique and it's something different for me.
About you, Stefan?
Yeah. So like, I mean, a diffuser looks usually one way, right? And dispenser looks one way. Other than the reed sticks and the pump, ours doesn't look like anything else, you know. And I guess that's the thing. It's not just another round bottle or a square bottle. It's this strange bowl shape that is very unique, and it's just, as Neil said, it's just for someone to realize this is different, and then also the fragrance part of it. Our vessels are one thing, but what's inside is really special. And it's just to smell that and realize it's not just pretty, but it's outside, but the fragrance inside, the soul inside the vessel, which is the fragrance, is beautiful.
Yeah. So tell me, which fragrance or vessel feels like your most signature piece, like really, you know, is your brand essence?
So I think from the home fragrance side of things, I would say the White Quarry collection. So that is it's also a porcelain vessel, but it is an unstained porcelain. So it's got this really beautiful natural white look to it. And the fragrance is probably Citrus Grove. So that is a citrusy, more male-leaning fragrance with some beautiful wood notes in it. But I think White Quarry collection generally, the whole White Quarry collection, and then our Citrus Grove fragrance. What about you?
What do you think?
Definitely, but the Citrus Grove is only in the diffuser. The Amber Glow is in the hand wash and hand lotion, and even as a body fragrance, Amber Glow is by far a winner. Like, I mean, we sell 10 times for every other one, like 10-to-1 ratio with our other fragrances, Amber Glow. So, yeah, Amber Glow, White Quarry, definitely.
Yeah, and were they your first ones?
And the white collection is always as it's the unstained one.
The Virgin collection.
The Virgin collection, exactly. And the cool thing about our porcelain is, and it's how you know porcelain is very good quality, it's translucent. When you shine a light against it, light goes through. And that's the hallmark of good porcelain.
Yeah.
And with the White Quarry collection, if you shine a light against it, the light actually diffuses through it.
Yeah, wow. I knew that there was something about porcelain and why in certain situations you have to put the milk in first in your tea so it doesn't crack your porcelain. That's how you know it's cheap porcelain, because you can't have a black tea.
Yes, hot water will shatter the cup. Yes. Then it's cheap.
Then it's cheap. I don't know who told me that or how I know that. So kind of that's your, a real good journey through your story, how you started up, and then, the story about the ceramics and the perfumes and fragrances. But what about business? Because, life can be a real roller coaster when you're in business. And I know I started my business 12 years ago. My first one, after 5 years, I had to close it down. It got to £1 million turnover, and then I was like, oh my God, this is not working. It's not how I like it. And I also work with lots of business owners who struggle to kind of put themselves out there. What are the biggest challenges that you faced?
So I think business administration is a difficult one because we've got a lot of laws that we need to comply with, and as only two people doing all of the heavy lifting, you need to do the creative side of things, then you need to do the sales side of things, and you need to do the administration side of things. So getting a grip on what is required of you as a business owner is very challenging. Luckily, the type of law that I did is I did commercial and business transactions. So I was fairly comfortable with finding my way around what needs to be done and what we shouldn't do. But even then, it was still, because our business is in a very different field, I still had to do a lot of reading up and a lot of understanding, especially with importing products and exporting products and consumer product safety reports, cosmetic product safety reports. So it's just the administration of the business that's actually extremely challenging. Your bookkeeping, it's very easy to let bookkeeping slip because you think if you've got a bank account, the money goes in and out, you're sort of good, but you're absolutely not good. There's a lot of time that goes into keeping proper accounting records. And then another really big thing for me is selling the product, or rather marketing the product. How do we get the product out there for people to see? It's one thing to create a beautiful product, and I think there are many creators who can create beautiful products, but there are very few people who can sell that beautiful product. So for us, it is marketing and selling our product. That was a big change, a big challenge. And so just to add to that is the social media. Social media is essential for any modern business. You have to have a very strong social media presence, and there's so much information out there on what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and everyone has a different opinion about it. And how do you grow organically? Do you spend money on ads? Do you spend money rather on creators or pay influencers to do things? Like, we've tried it all, and some of it works, some of it doesn't work, but there's really no sort of recipe to this. But I'd say social media was also a very challenging part of it. The thing is, I think a recent popular trend is user-generated content. So where a business sends out lots and lots of products to as many influencers, usually micro-influencers as possible, for these influencers to review your product. It is a much more attractive review of the product as opposed to beautifully curated posts on your social media. And we've noticed that our user-generated content gets a lot of traction, where these beautifully curated shots in these very expensive photo shoots don't get nearly as much traction. So it's finding your way around, what is popular, what's going to work, and what to spend money on when it comes to social media.
It's hard, and I know from being in business myself, and most of the time I'm working with other creators, entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and there's all of those things that you've said. It's like, well, what works, what doesn't, and should it be organic? And I've chucked literally thousands into social media advertising, and it's done nothing. And then I've chucked a little bit of money and it's done really well. And you're like, it's like it's definitely a science and an art, and who knows, and it's changing all the time, and they're changing up the algorithms. But I definitely see that certainly the market that you're in, like discerning clients, is they want to see, the people behind the brand. They want to know that it's got a story. They know that they want to know what you care about and see that you care about the same thing. So I think the important thing is to be able to tell your story, hence why we're all sat around today to do that. But the biggest thing that I find with creators and entrepreneurs is they're really passionate about what they do, but then they're really scared of sitting in front of a camera or going live or, putting their face out there, because it is a scary thing to do. So how have you kind of got over some of that?
Just do it.
Just do it.
And I think incrementally, starting slow, warming up to the idea. I think if you have, like, when you go on a diet, all New Year's resolutions go up in flames if you throw the kitchen sink at it. So just start slowly, build your confidence, get into it. And I guess we'll be in front of the camera a lot more going
Yeah.
forward. There is no other way around it. It's what we have to do,
Yeah.
and just where the future is going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And people buy people at the end of the day, especially when we're a small brand. So, you know, most of us don't want to be, I don't know, a Richard Branson or a Elon Musk, and we possibly will never have that brand presence. So it's got to be about us, and people are going to buy us or they're not.
Yeah.
And that's good because we're not for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
People buy not what you do, but why you do it.
Yeah,
right? That's the saying. So
yeah, absolutely. The story behind it. I always love to end on a quick fire round, but before we do that, where can people find you? How can they buy these amazing products and these beautiful fragrances?
So currently we've got a really stunning website, www.sirjacobs.com, where you can find all of our products. You can browse the website. It is a really nice website. He actually created the website, so it's intuitive, it's easy to understand. There's lots of descriptions about the products. There are some reviews on there as well. So that's the easiest way to get to our product. We are very effective at the moment we've got your order, it gets packed and it gets shipped usually within 24 hours. So that's the easiest first way of doing it. Secondly, we've got a really stunning kiosk at Hyde Park Corner Shopping Centre, which is in Hyde Park area. Really beautiful mall with some really nice shops, and in my opinion, our kiosk and our product just fits in there absolutely
Oh, it's
perfectly.
gorgeous. Yeah, I've been there. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, so you can go there and you can experience the product firsthand, because there you can actually touch and feel the product, have a first-person look at what we've got to offer, and then also, of course, very importantly, smell all of the fragrances. So those two avenues for the time being.
Yeah.
But,
So Jacobs.com for South Africa for now, but soon it'll be the UK.
Absolutely,
And,
the UK is
the
coming
UK
soon.
Coming soon, and then after that, hopefully Europe.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And also there is a QR code, so people can sign up to hear more from you, get a 10% discount.
Sign up in the footer.
Yeah.
Newsletter sign up is in the footer. Sign up, get your 10% discount.
Yeah, and we'll leave that QR code somewhere in the bottom or in the notes, in the description. Absolutely. So quick fire round then. So what was the first product you ever designed?
A Speedo.
A Speedo? Like as in swimming trunks?
Yes, swimming trunks. For Sir Jacobs or ever?
Ever.
Ever. Okay, well, leave that one out.
So it was a Speedo.
For Sir Jacobs, no jokes. A Speedo for Sir Jacobs.
And we actually wore that Speedo on a holiday in Mauritius. As I said, we started off with clothing.
And where was the name of the front of the back? Love it. Yes. I like that. That's brilliant. So one detail in your pieces most people don't notice, but you love.
The textures. So the texture on every vessel, water, bark, sand, and marble, that gets lost so often. People see the silhouette and the color, they miss the actual texture sometimes. But some people are very in tune and just notice it.
There's a texture difference, yes. Because the texture is extremely important. That actually inspired, so an appearance in nature actually inspired the texture that's on the bottle. We've got beautiful trees, and we wanted to represent that in a product. So we've got this really beautiful, intricate bark texture on our Greenwood collection. Yeah. So yes, you're right. It's actually the texture.
And it's a beautiful green. I keep looking at this wallpaper here. Well, it's not even paper. It's sort of like something very lovely and tactile. But it goes beautifully with this green in here. Yeah. Okay. So if your ceramics could speak, what story would they tell?
I think of perseverance. So you need to keep on trying. And if you keep on trying, you'll eventually be able to achieve something. Because we had so many trials and errors, so many of them. And it really felt like when we opened that kiln, or when I mix that fragrance and it comes out absolutely horrible, you open the kiln and everything is cracked, you really feel completely defeated. But for some reason and in some way, we just continued. We tried the next thing, and we mixed the next fragrance, and I bought some new aroma chemicals, and he tried a new glaze. So it's just perseverance. You keep on trying, you'll eventually be able to achieve it.
Do you agree with that, Stefan?
Perseverance.
and you kind of answered this before, but I think it's good for a quick fire, is one fragrant note that defines Sir Jacobs?
Fragrance notes. I think currently it would be tomato leaf. I mean, it seems so strange.
I remember having that conversation with you.
But I just have this thing about, I don't even have a tomato leaf perfume yet, but I'm currently working on one. And I'm fascinated by it. It smells so good, and I have to make it work in a fragrance, and I will make it work in a fragrance. So currently, just because it's out of the ordinary, it's something new, people don't really expect it, just exactly like all of our products in Sir Jacobs.
Yeah.
So I'd say, is it tomato leaf or tomato leaf? Tomato leaf.
Tomato, tomato.
Exactly.
There's a song there. Yeah, coming from the UK and I live in Spain, the tomatoes in Spain, you pick up tomato and the smell is just so divine. You don't get that in the UK. It's kind of, there is no smell and not a lot of taste. But yeah, I love that.
Yes.
What about for you? What would that be?
Yeah, I'd agree with Neil.
Yeah.
The tomato leaf is, it is weird. And the caprese fragrance is working on that has that in. It's just, like every time it's just a whole new level.
Yeah, so, yeah. I love that. Can't wait for that one. Yeah. So this is going to ask you to choose between babies. Is like ceramic or fragrance?
That's an easy one.
If you had to choose.
Fragrance.
Oh, that's interesting. For me, it would be fragrance. I think ceramics.
Oh, well, that's good though, isn't it? Yes. See, you have to be together, otherwise Sir Jacobs is
but I'm the one doing the ceramics and he's doing
the fragrance. But that's good, isn't it? So what one word would you want clients to feel when they light a Sir Jacobs candle?
Inspired.
I don't know. Inspired, I guess. I guess also in, not just sound braggy, but in awe. In awe of the projection and the product itself.
Yeah. And also what I love about your candles is that they smell all the way down to the bottom. They don't run out at the top, which so many kind of mass market ones do. And they're not claggy smell. It makes the whole room smell. And, they're a nice size, but it makes the whole room smell. I don't know there must be a word for that projection. Yeah.
So there's actually a sneaky trick that some of the candle producers use, and that is they fill the candle with, let's say, a 5% or a 4% fragrance load for the first 3/4 of the candle, and then they fill it with a much higher fragrance load for the last quarter. So that when you actually smell the candle, it smells lovely. But when it starts burning, it sort of
disappears.
So because they use less fragrance oil at the bottom than they do at the top. Yeah. But we use a very high quantity fragrance load throughout our
and that's why it lasts all the way down. Yeah, amazing. Do you have a morning ritual that sparks your creativity?
I think sort of a slow morning. Not jumping out of bed, quickly getting ready because we're late. We have the thing where we wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, we have a cup of tea, has a cup of coffee, we make our way to gym, have a gym session, get home, have a proper breakfast, and make our way to the office. That sort of sets the tone for our day.
Yeah.
Take the time to wake up and take the time to sort of have a good meal, and then you're ready for the day.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's one thing that I really struggled with when I was, started and running my own business. Is like, I've got to be there at 9 o'clock. And it's like, why? Why do I need to be there at 9 o'clock? And why do I need to clock off at 5? It's actually my business, and that's the bonus you get to choose. And I think it's so important. And you listen to a lot of sort of successful people in all walks of life. They take that usually early mornings, but the slow mornings, and it's like me time to look after yourself. That whole ritual piece. What's the best customer reaction you've ever had in kind of sort of 3 words?
I have a very good one, but 3 words.
Go. I'll let you have more then.
Sorry. A lady said, "I hope my husband would kill me if he knew how much I spend on Sir Jacobs."
I love that.
She bought tons for every bathroom. So My husband would kill me 5. Yeah, that's the best.
What about you?
Sure, that's a difficult one. I can't think of one now.
The one comment on one of the candles, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and having spoken to some of your raving fans, they are words that they're using. You know, it is so lovely to hear. And one place in the world you'd love to see Sir Jacobs products?
Maybe Italy.
Or New York.
Oh yeah,
New York.
Well, here's to that happening, and thank you so much, guys, for being great guests today.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for the great
Thanks for having
interview.
us.
Thank you. For now, find us at sirjacobs.com in South Africa or Hyde Park Corner in Sandton at our kiosk just across there.
Oh, now I'm back from South Africa and I'm recording the outro for that amazing interview. It was such a special time and I literally cannot tell you how much. Honestly, I fell in love with the brand, and I know I've said this already with Neil and Stefan. Ben is already a great friend of mine, but what they are doing and what they've accomplished in such a short time, from deciding to go all in and leave the familiar behind and leave their jobs and go full on 100% into the business, is so amazing. You know, literally moving from a garage filled with porcelain dust and little doggy paws left in the dust. I could just imagine what that looks like, to, you know, vessels fired in Atlas, their very first kiln. And it just proof that Neil and Stefan, you know, when you do something, you light up and it fills you with purpose. And for them, you know, nothing is disposable, and the vessels are made to last, the fragrances, you know, made to refill, and they smell beautiful. I've got Soul Aqua on today and it just smells divine. So this episode really marked a very special moment for me because they are my first sponsor, and also because Women on Purpose is all about working with businesses, whether they be female-led or male-led, founder-led. This is so important around living your life fulfilled, doing something that truly makes you happy, that really feels like your why. That's what I'm all about. That's what all my guests are about. That's what all my guests are about this series as well. No change there. But as always, thank you so much for listening. And remember, if you like what you've heard today, then please subscribe, leave us a review, and also go and explore the Sir Jacobs collection. They've left you an amazing code that you can use for 20% discount, and it is Launch UK20. Please go and have a look around there. And thank you for listening, for watching. If you're watching for the first time, we're now on YouTube, and I'll see you again next week. Take care.